Hello. Thank you for joining us for our sessions today, and we are really grateful for the Mimmit koodaa and opportunity to actually share our thoughts with you.
We come from Zalando, at least our favorite source for fashion and lifestyle inspiration, more specifically from the Helsinki Tech Hub, representing the perspectives of engineering and design.
Yes, so maybe I start from my introduction. My name is Maria. I'm an engineer manager working in Zalando with 18 years of experience in IT industry.
And I'm Maria Ojala, so almost like Maria, but not quite, with 15 plus years in design field. We also come from the same team, Partner Tech, where we enable our partners, as in companies who sell to and through Zalando, to set up their businesses and expand, as well as do their daily operations with us. So basically, all of the products are online as they should. Today, we wanted to share some of the learnings that we have had in our teams during the past months, year or so, when it comes to AI and on the balancing of the quality and speed. As you probably have seen, many companies have been encouraging their team members to experiment with AI, and so has Zalando. We've been working on coding, document creations, UI experimentations, everything in between. And it has really come part of our daily work, whether it's a PM pinging you with a quick prototype of an idea, or coding assistant, or cleaning up documents and making it ready to share. Some of the benefits that we have noticed so far include something like documentation, research, and prototyping. Documentation, for instance, for a company like Zalando is extremely important, since that's the way we make sure that information flows with the hundreds of thousands of people in our units. From basically structuring documentation, meeting notes, transcripts, all of that has been a game changer if I compare to 1 or 2 years ago, like truly. With research, of course, we use specialized research tools as well that go into more deep analysis of insights, user interviews. But of course, then the transcripts, translations of the interviews is also a massive help. What I've seen especially spike is the deep research type of functionalities to do desk research, which has been really a big hit with the teams across. When it comes to prototyping, creating proof of concepts, that is one of the areas we've seen the biggest jumps or leaps forward. Right now, we are able to do some of the prototypes within maybe hours or day or two, what usually or previously took days or even weeks. This is true for both design and engineering. So for instance, we can get clickable interactive prototypes almost ready to test on at least high level from design side, but also engineering can do quite clear proof of concepts to make the case for things to go forward. But when it comes to coding, I will hand it over to the person who knows the best.
Thank you, and I will take that too. Yes, so in engineering, we also identify that during our daily lives operation, how AI actually was able to support and improve our development workflow. One of the examples here would be the smart code completion. I think most of the engineers already tried that. That's a great feature, which actually reduce the typing time, able to complete the line of the code or functions very quickly based on the context. And you would be able actually to not focus on the syntax, because AI will also suggest the correct syntax. Great opportunity for developers to focus more on the speed of the development. One of also quite beneficial for the engineers feature that we identified in our engineering teams using of the AI for the PR reviews. So what we do for the engineering, we actually collecting AI collects initial suggestions for the best practices, for improvements, for data structure improvements, syntax errors before submission of the real PR for the review. It creates the confidence for the engineer who actually doing the review that basic things are already fixed and addressed by AI, and also saves the time of the reviewers who will be checking the PR after that. Regarding the reviews, continuing that topic, we also have a content recommendation and reviews that are tried. And what we are doing actually is that we are validating some content or brand voices or glossaries for actually some mistakes based on with the AI's support. Also doing the product information checks, even though the manual checks from human being quite often involved as well. But AI supports to fix the initial errors and save the time for the people to focus on actually more important things that are more critical in their work. Also, for transparency purposes, Zalando using the labels in the fashion store, meaning in UI that you are seen as a customers of Zalando, to label the content which actually is generated by AI, so you can actually easily identify that. Another task that I would like to talk about that engineering has used quite a lot is the small routine task improvements and for non-production usage. So example cases that we discussed in engineering was where AI is able to actually generate migration scripts, SQL queries quite accurately, and enable to also create the test cases, which simplifies the routine task, which engineers quite often don't want to do or a bit lazy to do. But please remember always that this is the throw-out solution quick, that you should not rely that this is like long-term maintenance needs. It's non-production usually use cases. So try to use it in your daily operations, but be cautious where you use it. Then the next one would be actually understanding the repositories. And this is great benefit that I also experienced myself. So when you go into repositories, which is actually not on your knowledge base, it could be the code that you are not aware of. AI is so great to actually make you an initial investigation of repositories, code structure, quickly grasp what is the idea, deep dive if you want to, and help you to actually reduce the wrap-up time and help you to collaborate in the areas where you were not thinking that you are able to do before. But as any product, AI has, of course, great help in our daily work, but it also has some challenges that we faced. And some of them are easy to spot in day-to-day life. And this is something we would like to share with you as well. So some of the challenges that we identified during the usage of AI was the case where AI is used with a bit more complex languages, like, for example, Scala. Example scenario in our engineering was that when we were trying to fix the Scala syntax with AI, it was actually repeatedly, iteratively, we're fixing the syntax, making actually it wrong, creating more errors and mess, and the outcome was actually not exactly what we were looking for, spending times and needed to refactor that after that again. When AI works, yes. So this is something which is actually quite common. I hope many people also face that as well, where AI actually works, but no one understands what it is doing. Another example as well from engineering, where the engineers generated the code with AI, and reviewer and together the engineer who did the code were not able to understand how it works. It did work, but nobody really understood how. And this is, of course, create a risk, because if no one understands how code works, it's very hard to maintain it, create risk, performance, security, anything, because you actually don't know how the results were achieved by AI. Then another case actually, which is coming from design scenarios, yes, when AI tools is actually still not capable to integrate seamlessly with our design system. And what it means in practice that AI is not able to gather the context from organization where the standards and context is created. So when you actually using AI to generate the solution based on this current setup, you're not able to produce the desired outcome because it will miss all the context and standards that are required and defined by your organization. Another point that we would like to highlight here, actually also a bit more valid maybe for AI as well, for the code and for like design cases. Similarly, when you produce the code that cannot be understood, AI also create too generic solution in design cases as well. Without the full context, again mentioned, you're not able to get the standards of your organization. You are not able to provide the full context and even keep context sometimes. You are not able to get the solution that actually stands out. It's too generic. It's missing the identity that actually separates the companies and their solution from the others. Example again from the design use case where you need to provide a lot of context, provide a lot of data and input into AI, and it lacks actually the rationale behind it. It's still making the errors. It's not guaranteed that your end result which be actually aligned with the organization or desired like solutions and patterns that you actually, and mental models that you are using. Another struggle in engineering was that AI is also sometimes using outdated libraries because it was trained on a bit older version of the models. And when you actually use the AI code generation, it suggests you the functions or libraries that are already deprecated, outdated, which of course can create a risk for your solution to be in technical depth right away, and also tolerating your security standards and vulnerabilities because the code might not be supported anymore. Another case that we also noticed that this is the biggest frustration, I guess, and many people actually try it in different areas when AI actually takes more time than it takes. So I actually have a few examples. One would be from engineering, where engineers were trying to create PRs with the support of the AI, and it requested so much additional iterational context that you needed to iterate so long that it causing frustration. It's easy to create it yourself, and you already don't want to use that feature anymore. From the design as well, one example would be that again, because the AI is not able to use the full context seamlessly, you need to provide so much give a manual work into creating such a tiny detailed context to your design solution that AI would be able to use it and produce at least more closed outcome. And still there is no guarantee that you get what you are looking for, and it might not even be scalable and needed in the future.
Then of course, there's some challenges that stem from our own behavior, our own core behavior, while some things are maybe fixed with time as the tools develop. One thing that has been talked about quite a lot is biases in AI and how they are incorporated in those. But also, when we work with AI tools, one thing we should be aware of is our own biases and how do they come into play. When we use these tools, when we ourselves can do quite much more than we used to do or be able to do, and with much more speed. One example is when we prefer comfort and confirmation over critical voices. And maybe one question to you is that if you have been able to argue with an AI tool ever. At least so far I haven't been. It's basically always confirming my kind of assumptions, bit of a pat on the head. And basically whatever solutions you would end up choosing, the AI would, one way or the other, agree with you. Considering review culture of designers and engineers, this is something that would be lacking unless we're careful. Another easy kind of trap to fall is this when we think we know more than we actually do. This comes down, of course, trusting the tools as well more than maybe we should sometimes. But it becomes more and more difficult to understand or know where are the lines where you actually kind of can estimate the accuracy. And maybe one of the questions is then how can we identify and learn from the mistakes early on? My favorite is basically how the tools that we use define how we think or steer how we think, steer how we do solutions. As I think back for the kind of past 10 or so years, the designs that I tend to do has become more and more standardized because of the tools that I've been using. And last week, for instance, when I was doing a concept work, I started generating UI ideas with one of the AI tools. And on paper, it looked pretty okay. but then something was still quite off. And it hit me that it's just missing the wider context. It worked on that one thing, but if I would add it to the tool, it wouldn't scale with that context. And I realized that I had basically jumped through a couple of crucial steps on defining constraints, requirements, just because the tool was there available for me to do quite a lot more and moving faster than my mind was actually working. But there's something we can do.
Yes. So actually, to support you to navigate a bit in AI world, we came up with a bit of practical approaches that you can apply in your day-to-day work to actually safeguard what you're working on, how to work a bit more cautiously and safely with AI to get the benefits, but at the same time make sure that quality and everything what you deliver is not tolerated at the same time. So, and then we go again to the quality. That's where we find that's the main goal to work to start from, because quite often people forget about the quality and what quality means for them. So define your quality, identify what you actually want to make sure that your solutions stand for. Make it clear for yourself. And if you feel that you are, for example, looking for the speed by using AI, make it trade-offs, make it clear. Admit it to yourself that this is something that you are ready to risk just to create the speed of your deliveries. Another thing which is actually quite really important, and this is actually example, maybe I can refer, where you are sitting with the AI alone. It's quite quickly you are getting the solution and you think, oh, it's great, it's so wonderful. And the fact is that you only work with AI. You didn't get another perspective, something that you might forgot, something you use the bias for. And please remember to seek for other people's opinion, reviews, get a diversity perspective what you're trying to get, to make sure that your solution is actually steering towards the outcome you're looking for. Another thing that is really good to keep in mind, consider where you use it. Consider the fact that you start with AI and a bit more safe sandbox. Try to make sure that your solution is not breaking anything big. So experiment with AI, be brave, but remember to keep it in a safe environment, gather the evidence that helps you to work, and then only expand to the bigger area where you can use AI a bit more safely after that. Recently, actually, I would like to maybe mention about one example. Spotify posted a blog post about the fact how they use also AI, because every company now is trying to jump into the AI train and show how they actually able to benefit from it. They found a great solution how their operations can be improved with AI support. Also, even the case where supporting some coding by non-engineers with like just pure words, where AI was able to generate the code and deploy it itself. But in the Spotify example, they also noticed that this is not enough just to go with the solution. You need to also see the trade-offs. You need to look for new mechanism to validate and make sure that you have a new control things that to be able to prevent AI, not just get the AI benefits, but keep the quality in, the guards in. And then we are going again to the quality gates, as I already started it. The quality gates is, please remember that you need to keep them. So when you define the quality, define how you're going to keep the quality gates. Do the review, human review if needed, checkpoints where you would be able to validate if the tools is already improved and you can rely on it, you can move on, but always make a checks, always keep the gates and keep the human for as long as you need it to make sure that your solution is actually valid. Look at the production. This is another use case which is actually maybe close to us quite often, because we are doing solutions quite often where we are doing experimenting to make a quick decisions. When you are doing like A/B testing, you want to actually check what solution would work best for you. Very quickly you can do POCs with the AI, but you need to remember that you need to monitor and check your productions. You need to be able to look after what is running there, to keep the code clean. If you don't need this solution, take it away, don't keep it there. Monitor if there is AI code actually deployed to production, monitor its usage, performance, any metrics to make sure that your system is safely running. Another thing which I would like to mention as well, this is something related to actually the context that AI needs. Quite oftenly, AI tools, they are not able to keep the full context of organization or even your solution. So remember that you actually need to provide as much context as possible for AI to make sure that the desired outcome would be a bit more close to what you're looking for. If it's not working, please iterate, try to give more guidance and everything that you would be able to get it.
Some of these will be fixed with time as the tools develop, but then there's things that do not develop with that same speed, and that is our own behavior. It will not take 5 or 10 or 100 years for us, for instance, to deal with how we behave as humans. As it's important to set the context for AI, you should also think about to set the context for yourself. Understanding your use cases, understanding the constraints or boundaries, what you're aiming for. So set your own playing field before jumping too far in. Another one is the checking your own biases. Find ways to counter or combat the biases. This might mean that you bring in a person or think about who you want to bounce the ideas with. Zalando, for instance, is offering its employees bias training, and many other companies are doing this as well. And this is something that probably is happening more and more and more, and should. But of course, you can also train yourself with AI, even on the biases, to understand your own. Then probably you've pretty much gotten tired of hearing it, but yeah, experiment, experiment. Basically see what fits to your workflows. You don't necessarily need all of the AI tools, obviously. We, each of us, have our own ways of working. But if something doesn't click right now and you see potential, come back to it in a few months, because yeah, the tools are developing constantly. Maybe the things that we shared, you realize that they mightn't have been the silver bullet to all problems, maybe pretty basic even. But we believe that setting the foundations at this point is crucial, since as the opportunities and the speed the tools give us, they also expose the gaps between how we do quality and align. And AI does not solve alignment in your organization. And this brings towards the end of our presentation.
Yes. So actually, if you would like to know more about Zalando and look after our journey, please follow us in the resources mentioned here. For example, in Instagram, you can join us and be part of our journey.
And after this session, we will be able joining the chat for any questions or thoughts that you might have for us. And of course, you can contact us via LinkedIn later on.
Yes, thank you. And we are looking forward to actually meet you in the chat for any questions or comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.